Hey there, folks. Thanks for joining me again. Much appreciation to you all. Today we have questions from Keith and Cheryl. So this is like the exciting thing I love talking about because we're talking about how you can convert your skills and your talent and your expertise to a digital product. So Keith shared that he is a family law attorney. But Keith, you didn't tell me if you work for a firm or if this is your firm. If you work for a firm, a lot of the things that I'm saying right now, you probably have to clear that with your firm. For my folks who have professional services, my attorneys, my doctors, tax advisors, brokers, typically you have to, if you're regulated in some way, before you go advertising online or giving advice, or I guess if it's geared toward education, you have to clear that with whatever agency you clear that with. Insurance professionals, things go for you. So once you do all that, we can get into these tips as to how you can make your life more digital. So if you want to, well, here's the thing. So Keith, in his email, he said he's over it. So what I don't know, Keith, if you're just over the firm, good morning. I don't know if you're over the firm, being in the courtroom, or just over law altogether. So if you want, you can email that back to me, or if you happen to join us live, you can give me more insight on that. But for the basic, the starters of everything, you want to increase your brand. And we're going to give the examples of Keith and Cheryl. Cheryl does, she's a dance instructor. And Keith, again, is an attorney. So even though that might not be your industry, you can still take the tactics and strategies that we're talking about today and apply that to your business, regardless of what industry you're in. Okay, so don't get caught up in that. You can still just change the industry and do the same thing. So for those of you who are in your professional services, I want you to really start concentrating on looking for publications that are relevant in which your audience hangs out. So in the case of Keith, Keith is a family law attorney. So magazines like, I don't have no kids. I don't know what magazines people with families read. But Parent, that could potentially be one of them. But do some research as to where your audience of families are. Now, in the law profession specifically, a lot of times you can't give advice in, actually don't know how you guys get cleared. I don't know if you can give advice in states you're not, you haven't taken the bar for. I don't know. Anyway, if you're giving advice out there, I want you to get publications to either do articles on you or that you write for the publication. And what this is going to help you do is going to help you rise up in search and build your digital brand. So again, remember, when someone's interested in working with you, they're going to Google you. And when they Google you and they see that you're associated with various publications, you can even do some opt-ed work for the Washington Post, New York Times. They are always looking for content and content creators or writers. And if you're already someone, folks in a professional field, you can always write for these various magazines and publications, and they will welcome it. Because again, they take your content and they get ad revenue based on more people coming to it. But it also helps establish you in your industry. And most of your competitors aren't doing it. Most professional service people don't look at branding themselves very much, and definitely in publications. Also look for trade journals. Okay. After you do all that, I have notes here. I don't know what aspect of family law, because you said you were over it in the email. So I don't know, again, if you're over family law completely, or if there's just, you don't want to be in the courtroom. So if that's the case, consider, in all of your experience with family law, are there certain things that you wish clients would have known before they came to you or before they looked for other attorneys? That type of information is critical, and you can develop that and you can create it in whatever format you want to create that. If you want to create it in an article on the corporate blog site, if you want to create a video, you can make that your free download and start to drive your traffic toward that. Just make sure it's super, super informative, because a lot of us, we don't know the court system. And it's not just a family law, any type of lawyer. We listen, if we didn't go to school for it, we have no idea what is happening. And it is a massive learning curve. And if there is something you can do to help even people who are going to work with you or people who will not adjust that learning curve a bit, it can really be a great addition to your brand. So you drive people to that. Okay. And once you do that, now, again, you have people's email address, so you can start communicating with them and start to ask them. For those of you who are on my list, if you're not on my list, you can download the digital Nomad toolkit in the description box. And that's how you get on my list. And I recommend every business do this. At the very low basic level, you need to have people's email addresses and communicate with them, because that is a way you talk to them and you can ask them, what are the areas that you struggle in? What do you want to focus on? What are some of your mishaps? Like just engage with the audience. And that does two things. One, it helps you learn what your audience needs, particularly as it relates to maybe your future product or how you can better do your core practice. Okay. But you got to get people's email address. So even how Keith showed up in my inbox today is because he replied to an email that I sent in regards to asking people where they're stuck. So in Keith's email, he wanted to have more of a digital life and get a little less out of the courtroom and more into traveling and living that life. So now that you have folks' email address, you can start to develop this relationship and start to what? Create content that supports what they need. If you do not know what your audience needs, you ask them. And the way you ask them, of course, is you having their email address. So I would say start there. From there, you have a bunch of different options you can do. You can do a workshop specifically for parents, and you can make it state specific. So let's say you have, you want to do a workshop for men to show them, how they can better prepare themselves for a custody battle. Or women, the same thing, whatever you want to do. I don't know what the family law courts are. That's just the only aspect of family law that I know. But you can start to develop these workshops for, you can charge people for them so they can get the education that they need in order to feel like they can go into the court or even hire a professional the way that they need to do that. So that can be one aspect of your business. And you can, in addition to that, even if you don't want to do anything with family law, if you just want to work with the young, aspiring attorneys of the world, you've gone through law school, you've either created your own practice or you're working with a firm, all of that information is something that people need. They're individuals who are interested in going to law school or interested in passing the bar or don't know what to do first year out of law school. You literally can give them that advice. And if you just want to be out of family law and not deal with that as much, you can actually create product and education for up and coming attorneys. And you can make that all digital. So your marketing will change a little bit because your audience would be up and coming attorneys versus more consumers to your core business. Does that make sense? So again, for you guys who are in the professional service industries, you really have two options in regards to what direction you want to go for creating online education and digital income. You can go the direction of increasing your core business, the audience you already have, and then the audience of people that are getting ready to embark on what you've already done. So my doctors, if you want to provide education for people who are getting ready to go to law school, that's not what I meant. Medical school. For our nurses out there, there's a series of things and exams that you have to prepare for. You can create content and educational information to help those individuals get through this process. If you were getting ready to study for, like if someone would have, offered me something for college to make sure that I could better study for what exam I needed to graduate or to take some professional examination, I would sign up for it all day long. So again, if you're in the professional field, dentists, lawyers, brokers, like you got two audiences you could potentially do that for. You can even do both. If you want to just start off with your core business, you can do that and provide content for your consumers so they're better educated working with you or any other professional. In addition to, you can create summits for these individuals. Like we talked in previous episodes of this, it's all the same thing. It's just the industry changes a bit. So I hope that makes sense. And again, guys, if you have any questions while you're live with me, be sure to put those in the chat. put a cue beside it just so I know that you're asking a question versus communicating with other people in the audience. So yeah, so we have online workshops. You can talk about parental custodial rights. You can talk about grandparent custodial rights. You can talk about the whole gamut of things and create educational workshops. You can create books, guides, anything that will help people navigate through the justice system as it relates to their ultimate goal. So even if we have our criminal attorneys, our real estate attorneys, the public needs to get educated on, we don't understand what's happening or what's going on when we have to do that. So you can kind of create this information for these individuals and charge for it, create workshops or courses. If you create a course that's what, $100, you get 500 people in it, that's 50 grand minus the expenses it would take for the technology to pull it off. But that's 50 grand. You can do it quarterly. You can do it once a month. You could do it however way you want. But for those of you who spent a substantial amount of time getting educated, like you are sitting here with all this knowledge in your head that you could easily capitalize on. You just have to mentally take the shift, the mental shift, that your work can go toward being digital. Again, because you're in the professional service industry, you do have to clear a lot of that with if you're working for a firm and all that other stuff. So we're talking about after you clear that, okay? All right. Also, quickly, what I wanted to talk to everyone about is understanding being able to go directly to your consumer. Okay, so when you are selling things online or when you're building your brand online, and hopefully this will eliminate some of the fear, you don't need a lot of customers because you're going directly to them. So if you create something of value or you solve a problem or you know, those type of things, you don't need a lot of people. Depending on how much money you want to make per year and how much you're charging for the service, you can get to 500 to 1,000 people pretty easily on the internet. Okay. Like, I mean, you can even see with this channel, you can get like 1,000 people in a week. So if you're providing good content, it's not that difficult. So I really want people to make that shift to understand that what you are already equipped with everything you need to convert your expertise and your talent into a business. Okay, so that's Keith. Keith, if you have any additional questions, if you don't join us online live, then go ahead and send me an email back. But I'm hoping just those tidbits will help you kind of say, oh, okay, let's start to kind of create this. And the good thing about Keith, if you're a lawyer, most likely you're a good lawyer, you can pay a lot of people to do this stuff for you, and it will lessen the time it'll take. So you could probably get this up and running in about 3 months and start making that digital income. For those of you who aren't going to pay for getting access to the audience, that's fine, but expect it to take about a year to 2 years. And if you operate in that way, you'll be fine. You don't have to spend any additional money. But here's where a lot of people get caught up. It's the producing content and not having eyes on it. You know what I mean? Like some people feel like they need to give up or they can't commit to it because no one sees it. And in the beginning, no one will see it. It's just going to be you talking to yourself or talking to your friends or whoever you invite to see the content. That's how the internet thing works a bit unless you are purchasing at ads. If you're not purchasing ads, it's going to take a minute, but still push through. Like if I told you your whole life can change if you just commit to giving good content and being consistent for a year to 2 years, and it won't, and you still got to do it even though you're not getting like immediate likes or immediate gratification to know that people will look at it and like it. All of a sudden, the Googles and everybody will start to give you energy, and it seems magical, and it's like a water hose, and you'll be like, "What happened?" Okay, but again, we always talk about that. You have to plant the seeds in order for that to happen. So what I'm asking you to do is something that is going to feel uncomfortable. I'm asking you to just start to develop the content, even if no one's watching right now. Okay, even if no one is giving you feedback or any of that, just keep doing it and keep doing it for a while. I know that doesn't sound good, doesn't feel good, but I'm telling you that's just how it works. Unless you have money for ads. If you have money for ads, this can happen sooner. Now let's move on to Cheryl. Hey y'all, thanks for joining me. Please put your questions in a comment, put a Q by it so that I know that you're asking me a question versus communicating with other people in the chat. I know we have a real super supportive community here and much appreciated. If you have questions about your business specifically and you want me to answer that, I will be live. I'm going to try to go live to the end of this week. It is now Tuesday, right? I'm going to try to go live to the end of this week. So be sure that you download the digital Nomad toolkit and you'll get an email. If you don't get the email, it's in your spam. Go check that. Reply back to me with your questions specifically about your industry and what you're interested in doing. And we'll try to work that out as a community. I don't always have the answers. Maybe somebody in the community does. So come on through. All right. So now we're moving to Cheryl. Cheryl is a dance instructor. Cheryl, girl, you can do so much. Like, Cheryl, I want you to take note of all the various personal trainers that are all over the cybersphere who have taken that industry and made it digital, especially with COVID. So I think, Cheryl, your big thing is that you just need to create content because you said you don't have anything on Instagram, you don't have anything on YouTube, and how is anyone going to know about you, honey? So you have to start creating the content so that people can start to know about you. And then you can bring back to people for whatever you want to do. Let's say you just want to do one online class just to get your feet wet. You can do that. If you want to make it free initially so that you can work out the kinks, because that is also what we need to talk about. When you first do this, which is why I want you all to start sooner than later, it's not going to be perfect when you first start. Okay. So the later you wait to start, you're not going to be able to like iron out the kinks. And once you iron out the kinks, then you can raise your price if you want. But understand there's going to be a learning curve with this unless you're paying someone to take care of that for you. But if this is just you and you're doing it by yourself, just always consider that, you just need to build the audience and the content. So there is actually, a woman that I met I met her. I didn't meet her. She was on YouTube. She showed up on the algorithm just yesterday. And I think her YouTube channel is Grow with Flow. And she's a personal trainer and she does these low impact workouts, right? And it was so amazing. And she's created this awesome community on YouTube in which she will create the video and then she'll premiere the video. So on YouTube, you can do a premiere. And basically what that is you upload the video and you see how we're streaming live and we have this chat function. You have that on Premiere as well, except it's a recorded video. So you can tell people when it's going to premiere, you can plan it, you can do all the marketing associated with, but it's a recorded video. So you can be in chat and still communicate with your community. And that is what she was doing. And again, she's a personal trainer. She did this in her living room and she blasted it out on YouTube. So with YouTube, because her engagement, again, we talking about content and this engagement, because her engagement was so high, YouTube just keeps pushing her out to people because they want to be able to sell ads on her content. So Cheryl, you can absolutely do something like this, and the great thing about Premiere versus going live, like you can edit out the kinks. Like my lives are kinky as hell because it's me live and that's just what you're going to get. But I do lives because I don't ever feel like editing ever. So if I go live, we could be done and I never have to see the document again. So that is why I prefer going live versus anything else. But sometimes it's a little bit harder for me to engage with the community because I'm trying to deliver content and it doesn't take much for me to get distracted and I can't engage with the community as much. But if I were to do a premiere, I could upload the video and then focus specifically on the community and content. And it would possibly be a better way of doing it. It's just not how my workflow is. But do what works for you. Like, sure, you can kill it. If you want to just specifically get your income from YouTube and the idea of, putting software together to create a course or do a workshop makes you want to put your head in the sand, I get it. I understand. You can just do YouTube specifically. Folks, for any industry, if you don't want to do all this side stuff and you only want to get paid from YouTube, that is an option. There are people that are getting, full-time YouTubers. You could do that. But if you don't want to do that, or you're just starting off and you still want to make money off your channel when the AdSense isn't as high yet, think about those ancillary products that you can do online that will help you do that. So if you want, again, summits, workshops, panels are really great because you're doing dance. You can bring on other people, other panels, do a summit. Like, Cheryl, across the gamut. But Cheryl, I know you've been seeing personal trainers out here training people online, even other dance instructors. So the question is, you could do it. You just got to make the move. But show certain dance steps, put up your phone, show certain dance steps step by step, show people, I don't know what kind of dance instructor you are, but show people one step. Upload this content. Make sure you have the correct metadata so that people in Google, not people, but spiders, internet spiders, can read what your content is about. So some of that, some of you aren't getting the views that you want because your content isn't labeled in such a way that people will understand what it's about. Computers are very black and white. When the spiders have to crawl your content, if you came up with this real creative title that nobody knows what it means, then they're not going to be able to send people to you. So definitely consider that. Just make it very cut and dry, and that works. Also, for your digital stuff, it has very low overhead costs, whether you are selling e-products in the forms of books, if you're selling software, if you're selling printables, anything like that. The overhead cost is really, you're just paying for the software to hold that and host it. So your overall revenue in that area can skyrocket. So for attorneys, I'm sure you guys got a lot of bills, right? But if you have a branch of just digital services, that can outweigh a lot of the expenses that you have associated with the business. So we're not going to spend too much time today. If people have any questions, just go ahead in the comment box. If you can put a Q by your question, then I know that you want me to answer it versus you're just communicating with someone in the form. And again, guys, go ahead. Don't forget to download the digital Nomad toolkit. That's how you communicate back and forth with you. I know some have asked me if there's a way to communicate with me other than Instagram. My DMs are looking ridiculous, so sometimes I can't respond to DMs, but I try my best to respond to emails. So good morning, Sandra. How are you? Hello. Boa tarde. Or boa tarde. I want their business maybe after 3 months. I come near Portugal. I want their business maybe after 3 months. I come to Portugal. I'm not sure what you're speaking of, hon. Okay, Sandra, people post their workshops on LinkedIn. There you have it. I want to do a LinkedIn workshop. I'm not educated on LinkedIn, but I want to do that maybe after the summer. Get some people who are thoroughly educated on LinkedIn and have them teach that. Your country have very beautiful, what is happening right here? Morning, healthy living. I want to grow a new open hotel, maybe shop. I don't know what's happening here. Hey there, Serena. Okay, we got a question. I am low key and prefer doing something in the background. Any ideas? I get it. You don't want to be on camera. Is that what it is? You don't have to be on camera. Can you tell me what industry or something that you like doing? Because I can't have ideas if you don't give me just a little bit of what you like. So I get the low key. I'm an introvert, so totally understand that. But can you tell me what you like doing or what your interests are so I can give you something a little bit more helpful with that? Oh, when you're not posting, it may be a good thing. Okay, let's see. When you're new to posting, it may be a good thing. No one is watching for it. To improve your skill. I agree. No, that's totally true, Ed. Like, listen, go ahead and do it. You don't have to get the stress of people saying stuff or any of that. Like, just get comfortable. Because it never feels good. I keep telling you, every time I have to hit the live button, even now, my stomach is like, what are we doing? And I still just hit it. But yeah, just go ahead and start. I agree totally, Ed. Just go ahead and start. Editing is horrible. I get it. Okay, guys, if you have any questions, we can make this one pretty quick. Okay, it takes ages. I agree. It takes me ages to edit. Yes. Okay, let's see, Jonathan, what we have here. I'm struggling right now because I'm good at so many things and I don't know what to focus on. I've worked in digital marketing for 4 years now for a company, but I also am an artist. What is your question? I'm struggling right now because I'm good. Okay, so is your you don't know what to focus on. Um, okay. This is usually my answer to people who have a bunch of things they want to do. Which one of those things, if you had to do it and no one gave you any feedback, you would be okay doing it for a year or two? Of all the things you're interested in, if you were just doing it and it just brought you so much joy, which one of those things is that? Because at the very beginning, that's kind of how it's going to feel. It's going to feel like no one's going to know that you exist. It's going to feel like until you build your audience. Like, building your audience is something that doesn't happen overnight. So if there's one thing I'm sure you're good at a ton of things. Which one of those things can you be like, okay, I could do this for 2 years and be happy with it. It won't make me miserable. Because what I don't want you to do, we're doing this whole thing so that we can have a better life. And so having a better life, I don't want you doing something that you're miserable doing. So I get you're doing digital marketing, which means you probably had to work with clients, which we all know how special they can be. So if you're an artist and you can zone out and you just love doing that, then stay in that lane, but be sure to create the content while you're doing this. There's so much things you can consider for content as to where you buy your supplies and how do you mentally focus. But like, that stuff is interesting to people, especially people who can't do it like me. Like, I get excited about learning people's process about things that I will never know how to do. So I'm not sure if that helped, Jonathan, but if you have some additional feedback for me, put that in the bottom. Hey there, Shanika, what's going on? Thank you, Kathy. I'm so glad this is helpful. Writing, what was the question? Let me scroll back up. Prefer doing something in the background. Writing, give me a little bit more. In what industry? So you could write for magazines. You can do freelance writing for corporations for their blog. You could do a bunch with writing. If there's a certain industry you want to focus on, go ahead and pitch and let's say there's a magazine or there's several things that you wanted to write for. Go look and see what the format is for their writing. And most times on their website, they'll tell you how you can submit. So just do that. If you want to freelance write or ghost write for people who don't want to write, because I hate it. I hate writing. In fact, if you guys have been getting my emails, I'm sure you've seen some typos in there. It is what it is. So yeah, you can ghostwrite for people. All in all, guys, whatever you decide to do, people just need to know you do it. So you have to, even if you want to be low key, that's cool. You don't have to show your picture, but you're all gonna have to show your work and demonstrate maybe some bylines and some things of where you have been published, so that people who want to hire you will know that they can be getting a good product. Excuse me. Okay, hello. I have started a healthcare recruiting business. Okay. Hey there, Cassandra. I've started a healthcare recruiting business. What are some marketing tips? So here's the thing, Cassandra. In your marketing, particularly if you're going to be online, you have to be super, super specific as to who your end user is. Even with me, and even for me to be able to give you marketing tips, I would have to know who your end user is. So when you say a healthcare recruiting business, that means that you could be recruiting doctors for hospitals, nurses for hospitals. Who is the overall client? Give me some insight on that. Because understand, folks, the way you would market to B2B is going to be completely different the way you would market to B2C. And the way you would market if you're trying to acquire nurses is going to be a different way that you would use if you're trying to acquire doctors or different licensed professionals. So with anything, guys, just be specific. Cassandra, you should still be here. So just let me know in the comments and I'll brainstorm that with you. Or if you haven't downloaded the Digital Nomad toolkit, do that, respond in the email, and give me a little bit more insight on your audience, your overall audience, the people who want to pay you. That's going to be your audience. Whoever's writing the check to bring you on, that's what you're going to need. Suggestion on pitching. Can you be a little bit more specific? Pitching to whom, I love, and to what industry, and what are you pitching? And then we can brainstorm that out. Okay, so use LinkedIn to look at, okay, let's see. Use LinkedIn to look at what others in healthcare are doing to market their services. It's a gold mine. I agree. I don't know much about LinkedIn, so I can't offer much there, but Sandra's super smart, so I believe her. Okay, so you are recruiting nurses for hospitals. Who pays you? Are you saying that nurses pay you, or does the hospitals pay you? Okay, Coach. And once Cassandra answers that, we'll brainstorm with Cassandra a little bit. And if that's it, guys, we are out of here. We got done pretty quick today. I love that. So again, if you haven't downloaded the Digital Nomad Toolkit, please download that. That is how you communicate with me directly. And then if you have questions, folks, you got my email. Just send them to me. Tell me what your questions are, like Cassandra and not Cassandra, Cheryl and Keith did today with their industry. And I'll try to help you the best way. So hospitals are the ones that pay you. Okay, so the first thing I would recommend is most nurses, you don't even have to necessarily do any digital marketing. There are a variety of different schools in which nurses have to graduate from. I'm not sure if you visit any of those. I know in DC, we had several schools that specifically geared to nurses. Asking the school if you can come in and talk to them, that's going to be a beautiful way to get more nurses to you. But going to the schools in which the individuals are and asking the professor or the educator at the time if you can come in and speak to 10 minutes, it could be a potential job opportunity for them. They will welcome that. They want to get all of their nurses employed. So just go ahead. You don't even need to spend time online. Just get up and go down to whatever schools that are close to you. Ask the professor to come in, ask him for 10 minutes, let him know, give him your business card, website, all that other stuff, and you're golden. You can have a list of people. Now, if you have to vet them to make sure that they're not new, that they have to have a certain level of experience, then my question to you would be, well, where are those people online currently? So where are nurses? Are they on any forums? Are there certain continuing education things that they have to do? So like with attorneys and a lot of doctors, they have to continue to do continuing education credits. And so if that's the case, the question is connecting with those individuals who are doing the continuing education credits to be able to come in and chat about your business opportunity, because either you're looking for nurses that are just starting out or you're looking for experienced nurses. And experienced nurses or experienced professionals usually have to get continuing education. So find those avenues of continuing education and just collaborate with them. And that's going to be your easiest way. You don't even have to do anything online if you don't want to with that. You could literally just call someone up and, have a meeting with them by the end of the week and get into a class by the end of the month. So I hope that's helpful, guys. Appreciate you coming on here with me. And again, send me all your questions about business. I am going to be doing this tomorrow, hopefully until the end of the week. We'll see how I feel and how this goes. And just go ahead and send me your questions. And it's been real. I appreciate you all. And until next time.